I'll tell you, one thing, I miss doing the Heat broadcasts. I did it for 12 years. But one thing I don't miss about being on the broadcast, I like being at home and watching these games. I like relaxing. Like tonight, you got the Heat at 7:30. You got the Panthers at 9:30. It also got NXT New Year's Evil, which I'll get to actually. I'm going to watch that. I like being at home, be able to chill and watch the games with a cold can of Johnny Cuba in my hand. That's right. Just relaxing. Just chilling on the couch, watching my teams with a can of Johnny Cuba. A 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. I can have a couple if I want, even though it's a weeknight. Why not? Johnny Cuba, if you haven't tried it, we're talking muy delicioso. European roots with a Caribbean soul. Start your evening with a refreshing German lager in a can. A 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. I love the videos that you guys send to me where it's like, man, ZASLOW, I didn't even know about Johnny Cuba. Juan is so happy to hear about that. ZASLOW, I didn't even know that Johnny Cuba. Now I'm going out. You can get it at Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. You got specials throughout this holiday. It's still holiday season. You got specials on 6-packs of Johnny's. So go out there, pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba, and keep sending me the videos. I'll put it on my story, and then you're out there for everybody to see. You're enjoying your new favorite beer, the official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0, Johnny Cuba. So go keep sending me those videos at ZASLOWJ on Instagram or at ZASLOW Show on Twitter, whichever. And don't ever forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So tonight, Heat and Panthers, like I told you, we got that going on. I'll get to NXT New Year's Evil, but I do want to say, and make sure that you check out It's Still Real to Me. We did a kind of a bonus episode, I guess, last night, because we didn't do one this weekend, because the ZASLOW family's a skiing family now. But make sure you go back and check out It's Still Real to Me. It doesn't have everything that took place in Monday Night Raw last night, but otherwise, we talked about all the big stuff in the past week. Vince McMahon being back in WWE. Mercedes Moné, who used to be Sasha Banks. She's now New Japan Pro Wrestling. Is she going to be in AEW tomorrow night? Royal Rumble's coming up. Best time of the... Oh, my God, the Royal Rumble's so good. We did some light Royal Rumble predictions last night. So go back and you can check that out. You can see what's going on. All right. Otherwise, and make sure, again, at ZASLOW Show, go vote. Let me see if we got an update here as far as the polls go. You want to go out there and vote. ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question today. After watching the national championship, the Miami Hurricanes are how many years away? And the leader at 70% of the vote now is they're light years away. Your choices are 1 to 2 years, 5 years, or light years. 70% of your vote is saying that they are light years away. Oh, that's hard times, Daddy. All right. Speaking of hard times, Daddy, let's do some good times and hard times.
Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years. They give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time.
Hard times, Daddy. Here's what we got. You know how we do good times and hard times every Tuesday based on other NFL fans, what kind of week that they had, all right? After week 18, going into the postseason or going into the offseason, which teams right now having good times and who's having hard times, Daddy? Of course, we will start out with the good times. Number 3, the team that is having good times are the Chicago Bears. How are the Bears having good times, ZASLOW? They finished the year 3-14 because they have the number 1 overall pick in the draft because their former coach, Lovie Smith, who was fired just hours after Week 18 concluded on Sunday. They were so pissed off, the Texans front office, because Lovie Smith gave away, said, you know what, I'm going to be fired, I'm taking that number 1 pick with me. Decides to go for 2 at the end of the game, and he gets it. They beat the Colts 32-31, and the Texans drop to the number 2 overall pick, while the Bears, a gift from their former coach, they have the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. So number 3, good times for the Chicago Bears fan. Number 2, the Seattle Seahawks fan is having good times. You can't tell me if you're a Seahawks fan. You know what, 12th man? You can't tell me if you're a Seahawks fan that you weren't going into the final game of the season saying, okay, we're going to beat the Rams most likely, but then we need the Lions to win at the Packers, and we also need the Lions to do us a solid after us winning knocks them out of playoff contention, that's a lot to ask for. But it happened. So the Seahawks got an overtime win on Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday night, although it was afternoon for them, time difference, they then got to watch the Lions beat the Packers. That's a pretty damn good day. The Seahawk fan, number 2 good times. And number 1, the best times after Week 18. The Jacksonville Jaguars fan, after the worst coach in NFL history, Urban Meyer, just 1 year later, they win the division. And you know what? It's not like they totally backed into winning the division. They were over 500. We've had those years where a 9-7 team wins a division. It's like everybody makes fun. Well, this team was 9-8. But here's the thing. They finished the season red hot. Like, they took that division. They did. They played well. They got a franchise quarterback. And that crowd, you were able to see, and that crowd was hot as hell on Saturday night. So, number 1, Jaguar fan. Good times. Number 3, Bears fan. Number 2, Seahawks fan. Number 1, the best times after Week 18. The Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Now let's do hard times, Daddy. Number 3, the Houston Texans fan. For exactly what I said. For the second year in a row, their coach is one and done. All right? They fired Lovie Smith, which, okay, that's fine. But they also lost the number 1 overall pick. They don't have a whole lot of hope right now. So the Texans fan, that's hard times, Daddy. Number 2, the Steelers fan. The Steelers, yes, you're happy that it's an above 500 season again, or a non-losing season again for Mike Tomlin. They finished the year, I think they won 5 in a row to finish the year. And they did what they needed to do. They needed all 3 things to happen. They needed to win against the Browns. They needed the Patriots to lose to the Bills. And they needed the Dolphins to lose to the Jets. The first 2 happened. The third one didn't. So the Steeler fan is having hard times right now. And number 1, the hardest times after Week 18 were being had by the Packers fan. Yup, the Packers, they win 4 in a row. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. All they got to do is win a night game at Lambeau Field against the Detroit Lions, and they lose. That's a shocker. Packers fan, hard times, Daddy. So number 3, hard times, Texans fan. Number 2, hard times, Steelers fan. Number 1, hard times, Daddy, the Packers fan. And that right there is another edition of Good Times and Hard Times, Daddy. Wow, good job by everybody. So there's nothing really new with the Dolphins. Tua still, hasn't progressed in the concussion protocol. He's still, which is, it's interesting. Because he self-reported the symptoms, obviously, the next day. And now we're 8 days later, and he hasn't progressed at all in the concussion protocol. And I'm not saying that there's anything fishy there. What I'm saying is he ain't playing this weekend. He's not playing this weekend. If Tua were to play, which he won't, but if Tua were to play, see, here's the difficult part. Because if he were to play and suffers another concussion, like right now, the Dolphins are going to go into the offseason. Tua's going to be the quarterback. He was too good this year for them to look for another option. Even with the injury history. He was too good. But if he plays this weekend and suffers another concussion, you're going to have to consider a different direction in the offseason. Because he may not be able to play anymore. A 4th concussion in 1 season? Not even that maybe he wouldn't get cleared, but maybe he would consider retiring. He's so close to a huge payday that I don't think that would be the case. But if you're the Dolphins and he gets a 4th concussion, you're like, we can't rely on him. Unfortunately, can't rely on him. He's way too prone to concussions now. So for his safety and for our future, we got to consider other options. So it's so dicey whether or not Tua is going to play this weekend. Because if he were to suffer another concussion, you probably have to look for another quarterback next year. I don't see a scenario where he plays. I don't see it. I think the Dolphins have no chance if it's Skylar Thompson. The Dolphins are a 10.5 point dog this weekend. I know the Dolphin fan doesn't want to hear that, but we've watched Skylar Thompson this year. We've watched him have to come into a game for Bridgewater after 1 play in New York. And we've watched him with a whole week of practice with the first teamers. And still doesn't trust what he sees on the field. Which is, I guess, normal For a rookie quarterback, it's not abnormal. And I know everyone say, oh, but look what Brock Purdy's doing. Yeah, Brock Purdy's a lot better than Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson is not a starting quarterback in this league. I don't think it's insult. Like, I don't think it does. You may want to hear it, but how could you have any kind of confidence going into this game with Skylar Thompson? If Bridgewater plays, changes a little bit. I feel like you got a shot. Not a good one, but if Bridgewater plays, I think you have a shot in Buffalo. I do. And if Tua somehow can play, he won't, then you got a chance to win. So you go from Skylar Thompson, no chance. Teddy Bridgewater, maybe. Tua, definitely have a chance. Definitely have a chance. But there's nothing new on Tua. As far as okay, I want to take a look at the lines for the games this weekend. So you got Seahawks and 49ers. 49ers are a 10-point favorite this weekend. I think the 49ers are going to smoke them. The Seahawks, they didn't back into the playoffs. They had to win. They need a little bit of help. But team in the first half of the year was a much better story in the second half. I think the 49ers won 10 in a row. 49ers are going to smoke them. I think they're going to cover the 10. Chargers at Jaguars. Chargers are definitely, and they're not a dog. They're a live road team in wildcard round because the Chargers, the Jaguars are actually a 1-point home dog. I like the Chargers. I hope this is a good game. I'm going to be rooting for the Jaguars. I think they're fun right now. But I like the Chargers road team to win Super Wildcard weekend. But they're not a dog. They are favored. Giants and Vikings. I think Giants are a live road dog. Vikings are a 3-point home favorite. That's your standard 3 points. I think the Giants are a live road dog. I think they can win that game. The Vikings might be the most difficult to understand 13-team win in the history of the NFL. Ravens and Bengals. Bengals are a 6.5-point favorite at home. If Lamar Jackson plays, that number will come down. If Lamar Jackson does not play, you know what? Either way, Lamar Jackson be super rusty. I like the Bengals covering there. The game will be ugly if Lamar Jackson does not play. I like the Bengals covering. And then Cowboys at Buccaneers. Buccaneers are a 3-point home dog. Cowboys are tough to figure out. Cowboys will give you a 40-3 against the Vikings, and then they'll give you a 26-6 against the Commanders. And it's not like they didn't have anything to play for. They could have finished first place if things went their way. But with that said, the Buccaneers did make the playoffs at 8-9. The Cowboys are a 12-win team. I think we're going to get the good version of the Cowboys. Didn't the Cowboys smoke them earlier in the year at Tampa? I think we're going to get the good version of the Cowboys this weekend. I think the Cowboys are going to cover that on the road. So I like 3 road teams to win this weekend. 2 of which are actually favorites on the road. So I like the 49ers minus 10. I like the Chargers minus 1. I like the Giants plus 3. I like the Bengals minus 6.5. I like the Cowboys minus 3. So I only like 1 dog, but I like 3 road teams this Super Wildcard weekend. Super Wildcard weekend is so good. 2 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday, Monday Night Football. Love that they... Was last year the first year they did that with Monday Night Football? I think last year was. I think that was the first time they did that. All right. Anyway, let's do big deal or not a big deal. Come on now. Big deal, not a big deal. At the end of every show, you know how we do it, all right? Before we get into big deal, not a big deal, though, I got to let you guys know, if you're not feeling well, you got to go with Doctors on Call. Doctors on Call 365. Dr. Alan, he's the medical director, board-certified emergency medicine and residency-trained internal medicine doctor. He comes to your home. If you need COVID tests, you need strep tests, you need flu tests, you need IV fluids, vitamin therapy, you need blood drawn, you need prescription filled or refilled, you need x-rays ordered. Doctors on Call 365. They'll come to your home. They'll come to your office, wherever you are. Call them at 786-577-9302. You're going to get someone on the phone immediately, and then you're going to be seen that day. If you call your regular doctor, oh, you don't feel good? You can't even get off the bathroom floor? All right, we have an appointment available in March. What? No, you can't wait that long. And while it's self-pay, Medicare acceptance is on the way soon. Private insurance acceptance is coming down the line. While it's self-pay, if you go to the emergency room, you're going to wait forever, and the copay, it's going to be more than what you pay for Doctors on Call 365 to come to your home. DoctorsOnCall365.com, 786-577-9302. So yesterday, big deal or not a big deal, national championship game. The College Football 2023 Hall of Fame is announced. Got some great players on that list, all right? Reggie Bush, Bryant McKinney, congratulations to him. You got some really good players who are on that list. And so the panel up there, you got, it's Reese Davis and Jesse Palmer. I think also you got David Pollock there and Tim Tebow. Love Tebow, all right? And they're sitting there, they're on the panel. They announced the list there. Actually, I don't think it was Reese Davis. Whoever, it doesn't matter who it was, whatever. And they announced the list. Okay, fine. And Tebow's got to be saying to himself, why is I'm not on the list? Like, he definitely knows he's eligible now. I'm not on the list? But whatever. They go to him. He gives reaction. They all give their reaction. Great players, blah, blah, blah. And then they pulled a trick on Tebow.
There's players that I grew up looking at, players that I had the chance to play against that are absolutely incredible.
Wait a minute here.
Well, they're the best. I think there's a guy that's the best player in college football history.
Yeah, I forgot one name here. The graphic was missing this because we also have a new Hall of Famer. He is arguably the most popular, the most successful, the singularly most impactful college football quarterback of the last generation, perhaps ever to play. 2 national championships, a Heisman Trophy. Timmy, congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, this is kind of shocking. Did y'all have this Did y'all have this planned or something?
Dude, if there has ever been a first ballot college football Hall of Famer, it's this guy right here.
Well, honestly, it's just so humbling. Thank you. There's so many people that are a part of this. He's such a massive part of this. All the coaches, my teammates. This is a humbling award, but this goes to all of my teammates that I got the chance to play with, and it's humbling when my granddad dreamed of getting the chance to see Florida win an SEC championship, and he died before that happened. So when we were playing for something a lot bigger than just winning or losing a game. Something that's a lot bigger than just a pigskin. You're playing for family, for relationships, for loved ones, and that's why college football is unrivaled to me.
That's a
Special
big deal.
Game.
Awesome. He's the greatest college football player ever. And not just skill level. We're talking everything: the accolades, the accomplishments, the intangibles. He's the greatest college football player ever, and it's just so easy to like. He definitely knew that he was going to be on that list. They put the graphic up there. He's not on it. He doesn't even blink. Gives his opinion, gives his thoughts, gives the praise to those players, and then they surprise him. You are on the list. They come out and they give him like a plaque or whatever, and he gives a nice little speech there. He gets choked up. He's so likable. I love that guy. So that's a big deal, of course. Tim Tebow going into the College Football Hall of Fame. How about this? So the Panthers are at the Avalanche tonight. We know Connor McDavid. Nathan McKinnon plays for the Avalanche. Connor McDavid, he plays for the Oilers. Connor McDavid is one of the great players in the National Hockey League. And Connor McDavid revealed that he has a superstition before every game. That he, for his entire career, dating back to God knows when, wears the same pair of socks. And they showed these socks. It's so foul and disgusting. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't wash them, but there are holes everywhere. The toes are all sticking out. They're completely black. I don't know if they started black. It's disgusting. It's so gross. This is a big deal. Connor, you're one of, if not the best player in the National Hockey League. Get yourself a new pair of socks. You're not good because of the socks. What's the matter with you? All right. Number 3, tonight, NXT New Year's Evil. I think this is a big deal. I don't normally watch NXT. I don't think it's not as good as it used to be. But there's some things that are good on the show. And tonight, NXT New Year's Evil, a special edition of NXT on Tuesday. You got the Women's Battle Royal to decide the number 1 contender to the new champion, Roxanne Perez. I'm interested. I love a good battle royal. So NXT New Year's Evil, I'm going to watch that battle royal tonight. That's a big deal. I'm into that. All right, I got 2 more for you here. So after the Patriots lost and I'll love it. They suck. Mac Jones, he threw 3 interceptions. He also had 3 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. He is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league, if not the worst, all right? And, of course, the Patriots, they lose. Dolphins need them to lose. They did. I hate that team, and Mac Jones sucks. Here's Bill Belichick yesterday. He was asked if Mac Jones could be a starting quarterback next year.
With Mac Jones, is he a player that you envision being your starting quarterback next season, or is this a position you need to reevaluate this offseason?
Well, I think there's, Mac has the ability to, to play quarterback in this league, and we have to all work together to try to, find the best and most, best way to as a football team, which obviously the quarterback's an important position to be more productive than we were this year.
That doesn't sound like an endorsement. All right, I don't know, Brady go back there? Sure, it's possible. Do they get Garoppolo back? Derek Carr, excuse me. Mac Jones not going to be their quarterback next year. I've seen enough of Mac Jones to know he stinks. So I thought it was pretty telling there from Belichick. Mac Jones can play quarterback in this league. That's not what you were asked. All right, you know that. That's not what you were asked. Finally, so that's a big deal. And finally, big deal or not a big deal. Granted, she stole this segment for her show, Joe and Amber, but big deal or not a big deal that yesterday on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Amber Wilson made a special appearance on the show.
I did have a private message, it's going to be public, for you, Keyshawn, from our own Amber Wilson.
Yes, I would love to hear Amber.
And 814 receptions, 10,571 yards, 64 touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowls, a Super Bowl. Dolphins takes 0 for 100. Amber Wilson, 0 receptions, 0 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 anything in terms of the NFL. Dolphins takes, however, about 100-0. And why? Why do I know more about football than Keyshawn Johnson? Because, Keyshawn, you forgot to believe. You stopped believing. You forgot. We don't need to win in the month of December. We don't even have December down here in Florida. Who needs winter? We don't need winter. We're still going to make it into the postseason. It's 75 degrees, sunshine, and palm trees every single day outside down here in Florida. We're going to dance our way into the postseason. Need us to do it with our third-string quarterback? No problem. Need our defense on the final play of the game to cover the spread? We got that done too. Need it to be as ugly as possible against the New York Jets? That's fine. We'll give you the ugliest game maybe in NFL history. But you know what? We got the dub, baby. And we're getting into the postseason, okay? You and me, Keyshawn, that fancy NFL career of yours, and here we are, both ESPN sports radio hosts. It's just that one of us has the good takes and is so very right. And one of us just has terrible takes and is so very wrong. Missy Keith.
I love that.
That's right. How about our girl Amber Wilson there putting the king of Cuck Mountain, Keyshawn Johnson, in his place? Again, make sure you listen to Amber every weeknight, ESPN Radio, even though she stole Big Deal or Not a Big Deal, 7 p.m. each night on ESPN Radio. She's obviously going to kill it, and they're nuts if they don't keep putting her on First Take. That right there, that's a big deal. Oh, and that is another edition, a Tuesday one, a Big Deal or Not a Big Deal. Wow. Special thanks, of course. Obviously, thanks to everyone who put together a great show today. Appreciate all your hard work. And always a huge special thanks to Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, title sponsor of ZASLOW Show 2.0. If you're dealing with a personal injury from an accident, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. They will take care of you and get you the money that you deserve. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, tell your friends, tell your family about the show, tell your mother I say hello. It's all good for the algorithm. And you know the algorithm, that ends up making me all the monies. So I appreciate all of that. Again, thanks so much for listening to the show. We'll talk to you on ZASLOW Show 2.0 tomorrow. You know what that means.